The amount you can bet and win on slot machines is set to double. The government's way of trying to help struggling pubs and arcades. It may help them. It's unlikely to help those suffering with gambling addictions, as Lucy Siegel's been hearing.
They are as much a part of the British seaside as Kiss Me Quick hats and candy floss. For most, a quick flutter on the slot machines is a harmless bit of fun, but sometimes an occasional gamble can turn into addiction.
I've had times where I've had my children lock me in my house so I don't get out and go gambling. I've had to give my bank card over to somebody else so I don't have access to money to go gambling. You really don't want to go down the road and have your life destroyed, like gambling's destroyed mine.
Andrea Steele started gambling on fruit machines aged 15, and it quickly grew into a habit.
It was an escapism. It was somewhere where I could be just me. I didn't have any responsibilities. Nobody's with the kids, nobody's with my family. That was my little world, and that's where I wanted to stay.
And how much money were you spending a week?
Up to about £400. Sometimes more, depends what money I had available.
So would you categorise yourself as a gambling addict?
I am, and always will be, a compulsive gambler. I've always played the fruit machines. I've gone to the bingo, used to bet on the national horse race, but it's always been fruit machines.
But despite people like Andrea, the government is poised to make having a flutter on a fruit machine that little bit more tempting. They're planning to double the jackpot from £35 to £70 and to increase the stake that you put into the machine from 50p to £1. With so many ways to gamble away your hard-earned cash, some fear an increase in stakes could make the transition from fruit machine to hardened gambler even easier.
I think it's a really bad idea, and I think it has not had the kind of thought that it needs. Fruit machines, by their very nature, are very attractive to young people, to vulnerable adults. They are particularly addictive, and if you increase the payout, you make the incentive to gamble all the more.
But this is a really small change. Do you really think it's going to have such a massive effect?
I think the problem is that fruit machines are often the sort of learning part of gambling. It's the kind of doorway into gambling that hooks people on the adrenaline rush of gambling. So I think it's a really bad thing. I think the government have given in to pressure from the gambling lobby and have not thought this out carefully.
In fact, across the UK, it's estimated that over 250,000 of us are problem gamblers. Today, gambling seems all-pervasive. In the internet age, it's pretty hard to escape constant appeals for us to get online and try our luck at a price. The NHS has established its first clinic for gambling addicts here in central London. Dr. Henrietta Bowden-Jones is their lead psychologist. She says the effects of gambling addiction can be devastating.
It is a very serious illness that can prove life-threatening because many people I see in my clinic have either attempted to commit suicide or have had suicidal ideation because of the stress and the pain and the depression that these debts and this cycle of compulsive gambling causes.
If there's so much concern about a growing problem with gambling, is it a good idea to raise the amount that you can win from the humble fruit machine?
Well, the traditional amusement business certainly thinks so. Old-style arcades are struggling. The government hopes raising the jackpot will keep them and the jobs they support alive, as well as increasing the VAT revenue it already receives from the amusement industry. Warwick Tunnicliffe owns several arcades in Blackpool. So your family's been involved in this business for a long time?
Yes, I've been in the business all my life. My father before me and my grandfather before him. So I'm steeped in the amusement industry. We've worked very hard and we've prospered. But currently we're struggling like we've never struggled before. The downturn has come on the back of the smoking ban, and we've had the new Gambling Commission, which regulates the industry, and they've brought in some draconian new laws that we've never had before.
So do you think that raising the stake and the prize will help? Will it bring you out of the doldrums?
It's possibly too little too late, but it's very welcome. It gives the games manufacturers, the innovators, the opportunity to make new games, new price structures, new payouts, and of course the increase in the stake hopefully will help. So we're looking forward to it.
As the economy looks as bleak as a February sky in Blackpool, increasingly some of us may be tempted to risk a few quid in the hope of hitting the jackpot. Now, will this provide a lifeline for a much-loved seaside industry, or should we remember the old saying, the house always wins?
I don't think people can understand a compulsive gambler. You've got to be another compulsive gambler to understand a compulsive gambler. But gambling's wrecked my life. It can wreck anybody else's.
So Lucy's here. Her common sense would dictate the higher the potential rewards on, say, a fruit machine, the more people will be drawn in and the more people will become addicted. Is there anything to actually support that, any stats to support that?
Well, it doesn't seem that they've really tested that, which is kind of odd in itself. What we do know is that gambling is increasing. So 23 million people in this country last year gambled, and that excludes lottery tickets. So that is a large number, and that's up 2% from 2000, so it's growing. And what we also know is that remote gambling, so internet, phone, TV gambling, is increasing. So we don't know if this is going to encourage some of that audience back into the arcades or entice new people in. We don't know if it's a problem yet.
And if more people will have actual addictions because more people are actually gambling.
Yeah, exactly.
I grew up in a pub, and there was a fruit machine in the bar, and you're not allowed to play them as kids, but I used to sneak downstairs and play, just because there's something as a kid, your mentality is you're going to win. Sooner or later, it's just a matter of time.
And the house does always win on a fruit machine, doesn't it?
Yeah, on the fruits especially, they're just geared.
But could you feel yourself getting drawn into it? Have you
There was a time when I was sort of about 12 when I used to have an unhealthy fascination with playing fruit machines, but once I'd started gambling on horses and really losing proper money.
Yeah, but I'm with you on something. When you were saying earlier, when the nudge came in, it made it a bit more complicated. I switched off then. The nudge spoiled
a simple one-arm bandit and you bang, bang, bang is fine, but then when they added another barrel of things, and then when it's 5 of them, and you can nudge or you could hold
all too much, isn't it? If you have got help with if you have got a problem with a gambling addiction and you want to seek help, where can you go?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a recognised illness, so you should go to your GP, and you are entitled to counselling. I think it's 20 sessions with a therapist, but you will probably have to wait for that. There's also Gamblers Anonymous, and we've got lots of contacts on our website, so do go to the website and look for help. That's the first thing you need to do.
Yeah, and if you've got a view on whether it's too easy to gamble now, the website is the place to express it too. The art of being a